Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of How to Program in C++. Last time I said that we were going to be creating our first program, but I decided that there was one more thing I wanted to go over first, and that is basic user input and output, and special Boolean statements that you can put in if statements in order to condense them. So I'm just going to comment out all this code here. Let's get started with user input. So I've already went over basics of what cout does, and there's another thing called cin, which is used for input. What this does is have the user input different values to different variables. So if I were to cout how many bananas, I can then prompt the user to cin and then bananas. So what this will do is just cout number of bananas and then have the user insert the value that the user put in. I should probably create a cout statement. Also, when you do a cin, it automatically creates a new line for you. So here we're just going to say you have, and then whatever number of bananas, and then a new line. So if I say 3 bananas, you have 3 bananas. And similarly to being able to stack on different couting, you could also do the same thing with cin, where you can chain in different things you want the user to input. So if I want to cin both bananas and some sort of test variable, then I can do that. And then I can cout the a new line, some text, and then the variables. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. You're probably not going to use this much because it could get confusing. So normally you want to just cin one variable at a time, but there are instances where you certainly would want to use cin and multiple of these extraction operators. There's just one more thing I want to go over, just a little addendum to what you can do with this statement. So let's say I have my if test equals 3, if test, I want to check if some sort of test variable is greater than or equal to 3 and less than or equal to 20. I want to do something. I could embed these two if statements, or I can say if test is greater than or equal to 3, and then use ampersand, which is and test is less than or equal to 20. And this would yield the same results. However, this is a bit cleaner and easier to read. So let me just show you that this does work. So I'm going to set test to 4. Test equals. So we should see test equals 4 get displayed twice. Test equals 4, and it goes twice. So, and then what if you wanted to do an OR? So like if test equals 7, you could say just have two different if statements. However, you could combine them similarly to using AND, only this time we use OR. So if test equals 7 or test equals -1. Now the advantage of doing this is, once again, it's cleaner and easier to read, and it doesn't take up as much space. So here, I'm just going to cout test is 7 or -1. And the reason why I do it like this is because, let's say I have these two if statements that would perform the same action if my test variable is either 7 or -1. So let me build and run this project just to show you what's going on. Oh right, I need to change the value of test. We're going to set test equal to -1. So test is either 7 or -1 displays twice. So that's all for this video. So in the next one, we are going to be creating our own program. It's still going to be grade calculator, and it's going to just be a recap / overview of everything we've learned so far with variable declaration, user input and output, combining if statements, and we'll also go over the best practices when programming, and if need be, we'll go over the best practices for debugging. So stay tuned.